Welcome back to Legacy Builders Unleash. I have a special episode here with Lillie Maximo, and I'm excited to talk to you about, or she is going to share with you about the hidden cost of a bad estimate, because this is the number one challenge that contractors, firms actually experience is bad estimating. And as a cost consultant and a construction manager, she understands not only what goes into the financial part, but actually how it's going to impact your numbers. So we're going to talk about that. Thank you so much for being here, Lillie.
Thank you, Melinda. It's such a pleasure.
I want to start out with this conversation about like who you are because I feel okay. So when we met, I was like, this woman is amazing. Like as many people, like we need to make sure that she knows as many people as possible because what you're doing is so specialized. And I think that a lot of people don't even know that this is an offer that exists for them and
hmm
your background, your experience. So please like share, how did you even get into this?
That is a great question. And you're right. So many people, I think, even within the estimating profession itself, don't know
Yeah.
that cost consulting is a job and it's a service that we offer to our clients. The way that I love this story so much. The way that I got into cost estimating, I was a secretary in a job site trailer doing Orange County Public Schools, loving every minute of it. Loved the big machines, everything. I was in my early 20s, really enjoyed it. And one day we were pulled into the main office to bid the next school that me and my superintendent were going to go build. And I had never experienced a bid day.
Mm,
And a bid day for a general contractor is a hard bid day where there's a 2 p.m. or 3 p.m. deadline is a very thrilling and exciting day. You have numbers
mm,
flying everywhere, people coming everywhere, conversations, drawings, everything. And this was long enough ago that we were not receiving the bids from our subcontractors by email. A lot of these bids were actually coming in person or over the
mm.
fax. So by the fax machine, they had each project manager, the whole entire company was all devoted to this one bid day. Each
Mm,
project manager at the firm was responsible for a different trade. And at the fax machine, it had Bob is doing electrical, Jim is doing plumbing, so on and so forth. So whenever a bid came, it was my job to receive the bid in the fax, match it up with who it went to, and physically take it over to that gentleman.
mm,
I That was my first exposure to the profession of estimating, and I that's what I want to do. This is the most exciting, fun day that I've ever had in construction, and I want to do this. So, since that day, I applied myself to become an estimator, and
mm.
now I worked for general contractors, I worked for subcontractors, and then I became a consultant. I worked for a consulting firm for 4 years, and then I went out on my own. So I have been for 4 years a construction cost estimator freelance.
That's
We're still,
amazing. I
yeah.
love your business and I love your firm that you're building because even just you're saying, this is what I want to do. This is the most exciting part of the project. And in my mind, I'm thinking, wait, what about the building? Like, what about the school that you're building? And it's truly a passion of yours that just
hmm
was ignited and that you get to share it with other people. And I know this that you have international clients as well. You're not just domestic.
Correct. Yes,
Yeah.
I've worked across the Caribbean, and I've supported some clients, international clients who want to build here in the States and maybe don't have a representative in the States who understands American construction.
And that's a big deal, right? Because it's not the
Yeah,
same. It
such a
isn't
joy.
trans yeah.
So much
Something new
fun.
every day.
Oh my gosh, what a blessing.
There was a story that you shared with me, about one of your bigger contracts, the one of the
Mhm,
bigger contracts. I don't know if
mhm.
you're open to share about that.
Um, Hit me
You
with
can
it.
you can
We'll
you
see.
can say confidential project.
Sure. Yeah, we'll refer to it as confidential project.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And it was pretty big. I mean, it's amazing the the scope in terms of the size of work that you are involved in. It doesn't necessarily have to be some gargantuan thing. It can also be a smaller project that's in, let's say, hospitality or sports and recreation. Like it's not industry specific. It's all about the numbers.
Nope, it's all about the numbers is what I do. I work for pretty much anybody who ever touches a dollar on construction projects, whether it is the contractor themselves. I have some in the Caribbean, especially, are my contractor clients that I support, creating bids for them, basically estimating overflow work. And then in the States, what I do more is owner side of the
Yeah.
table. So I will help them in all phases of the project life cycle. When the project is the beginning of an idea, it's just a couple sentences on a piece of paper, or I'll do design development cost estimates so that the design is staying in line with the project budget. I'll also help with procurement projects and leveling bids, change management, reviewing change orders, so as the costs change throughout the life cycle of the project. And I also do claim estimating when it
Mhm.
goes to lawsuits or insurance claims. So from the beginning to the end of the life of a project in a building.
So, like, just kind of for somebody that is first time ever hearing about a cost consultant,
Mhm.
and they're like, Wow, how can you help them?" Like, you've provided your service list, but really dive into, can you share one example of what that looks like for a business and the outcomes that you get for them?
I think it's really about confidence and understanding, feeling good about what you are spending. I love using the grocery store as an analogy for my work because every one of us is going into Publix or wherever we go, and we know what to expect to spend for a week of groceries or to get a milk or some cheese or whatever it is that we need. And really, you know in your heart when that milk is too expensive, or you know in your heart when that chicken is so cheap that it makes you really wonder about the quality of that chicken. And those that kind of instinct is really what a cost consultant brings to the table, is when you are in a position where you're trying to buy some construction work and you need somebody with that instinct and that also historical data. I have a lot of us construction cost consultants have we treasure our data and we keep tight control over our data because that's what we need to pull our information from. So when you engage with one of us, what you're really getting is somebody who has gone to every grocery store in town and keeps track of all the milk prices and wants you to get, you don't need a gallon of milk, you only need a half a gallon of milk. And I'm going to make sure that you're not spending a whole gallon's worth of milk when you really only need the little one. And that's the best way that I can really describe it. And also, sometimes a lot of that comes down to knowing what you want to buy. It's not
Mm.
always about what is the rate that you're getting, but how clear. I would say that's the biggest problem in cost in construction is not the rate that you're buying it for, it's the the gray area of, yeah, we're gonna go do Thanksgiving dinner, but I'm not really sure how many people are gonna show up.
Yeah.
I don't know if
It's
we're
like,
gonna how many
yeah,
pies are we gonna do?
yeah.
That's where the
Well,
cost gets crazy. Yeah.
so, like, to your example about the grocery store, if we say, "Hey, honey, can you go get some milk?" It's like, "Do you want oat milk, almond milk? You want goat milk? You want, like, oatmeal milk, like oatmeal, whatever, like, what do you want? And then how much of it do you want? Do you want a gallon? Do you want a quart?
Mhm.
Do you want a
Mhm.
pint?" And then brand, like, do you have
Does it need to be
a
organic?
does it need to be organic, or
Mhm.
can I just go to Publix, or does it have to be, do I have to go to Whole Foods? Like,
Yep.
does it have to be fresh, or, just there's so many questions around that, but you're right. It comes
Mhm.
down to knowing exactly what you're looking for, what you want, and being as specific and as detail oriented as possible. And that truly is how you can help them with cost, right? Like, just kind
Yes.
of controlling the cost is knowing specifics and guiding them through that process. Is that really like what you do
Oh,
is you guide them through that
absolutely.
process?
And sometimes we'll ask questions like what you just suggested with the milk, all the different ways that milk can go. And a lot of times also what we'll do is we'll make recommendations or answer the question for them. And it kind of, because you can get so lost in it with all the different, I mean, the grocery store has quite a variety of things, but then
Yeah.
the variety of ways that a building can go is just massively detailed, and it gets truthfully very overwhelming for many people in that position that need to make those calls. So sometimes what we'll do is we will make a decision for them or offer them two or three decisions of what, because we see a lot of work. Maybe, I did one of these last week. This is what that guy wanted. Maybe that works for you too. Or here's the other option that that guy considered. Here's the difference in those costs. And that
Yeah.
helps guide their decision. And sometimes being told, hey, I've included this for you,
Yeah.
will give somebody the emotional input or emotional journey in the process of saying, hey, that's actually not what I want.
Mhm.
Whereas if you don't make that suggestion, you might not have that processing where you kind of are forced, not forced, but kind of your brain kind of clicks to where, hey, what do I really need out of this building? What is really super important to me in this spend? Because many people, the biggest thing that we'll ever spend our money on is our facility, whether it's our home, our facility for our business, factory, whatever it is that you're building. Buildings are expensive. It's the biggest thing that we got is a building. Everything else goes inside of it, right?
That's pretty much true, yeah, it's the
Yeah.
structure that we pay for. Um,
Mhm.
so kind of pivoting to something, what are the top 3 mistakes that you see people make when it comes to the cost?
I think the certainly not knowing what they want is one big thing. Leaving it vague and
Mhm.
not taking the time to really answer those questions. They always say that risk drives cost. So the more risky
Yeah,
something is, the more that the contractor is going to capture costs to cover themselves, and reasonably so. I mean, if they're going to assume that risk for you, then they're going to expect to be compensated for that. So
right.
what can you do to mitigate the risk for the contractor? Make those decisions, figure that stuff out. So I would say the scope vagueness is the big thing. I would say the second thing is the timeline of the scope.
Mm,
Making those scope decisions. The further you get into the project, the more expensive it gets to make those decisions. So the more
yeah,
clarity, the earlier you can have earlier in the project is what's going to really, just like Thanksgiving dinner. If you are deciding on Wednesday that you're going to go make something, that becomes a very expensive thing time
yeah,
wise and stress wise for you to make. If you decided you were going to make that casserole 2 weeks ago and you froze it and put it in the freezer, that is very simple and easy, and that is not stressful at all. So,
mm,
very similar in the world of building construction is make solid decisions as early as possible. And then a third thing, I don't know if this is common to everybody, but certainly
mm,
in some of the projects I've been seeing recently, is make appropriate decisions for the climate you're in, make appropriate decisions for the marketplace that you're in, make appropriate decisions for the life cycle of that building. And don't just think about what you're spending today, think about what you're going to spend over the course of the building's life. Um, there was that lady on, I forget, I don't know what her name is, but her little tagline was "Everybody's so creative." Um, you know who I'm talking about? She would show like the craziest little videos and say everybody's so creative. It's kind of a sarcastic thing, but she's right. Like everybody's so creative, and sometimes you don't want to. Sometimes there's a reason why people in that climate build that way.
mm,
It's because they've made the
yeah,
mistakes, and there's no reason to reinvent the wheel. Just
yeah,
and you don't in art, like architectural language, this is me going maybe a little bit outside of cost, but the buildings that we create and the neighborhoods that we create are really so much bigger than us and like exist beyond our lives and shape the culture of that place. And that can be a very expensive mistake, not just financially, but culturally, to put an inappropriate structure in a neighborhood.
I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more.
Yep.
So just kind of talking more about contractors, for contractors and agencies looking to build in high risk zones like Florida or an island environment,
Hmm.
what are some of the most common line items or environmental factors that unseasoned estimators overlook?
I think the biggest one is access. So often, especially in the islands, so often the issue of access and logistics is kind of this ominous specter of, oh my goodness, it's going to be challenging to get in there and do this, and how are we going to do this? And so frequently we'll just, oh, here's a big number, instead of like,
Yeah.
okay, we'll add this big percentage and that'll cover us. No, just sit down and, I would say, like, the inexperience, to your question, the inexperienced estimators say, "Well, okay, we'll put $50,000." It might take more, it might take less. Sit down,
Mhm.
walk through it mentally, visualize the entire process in your brain, talk to people who are involved in the process, see if they see any problems with your plans. Because many times, we as pre-construction, estimating is not just about the cost. We do pre-construction, so we're planning the project out and how is this going to actually happen, because that also drives costs. You can't put a cost together if you don't have a plan. So
Right.
frequently we'll put the plan together. You got to figure out how many guys are we going to get in there, how are they going to access this work, where are they going to stay, how are we getting the materials over there, what kind of truck, what kind of ship, what kind of this, that, and the other are we going to need, and visualize it, talk about it with the project team, and write it down and
It's so
assign a
important.
cost. Yeah.
It's the simple things, right? We get excited oftentimes with the program overall, with the big vision of it, the design, the
Mhm.
program spaces, and oftentimes we just need to take a step back and look at the bare basics that are not sexy, but
No.
they're necessary
Yep.
so that we don't go over budget and that we actually fulfill the project. Because the last
Yes.
thing that we want to do is go through spreadsheets of VE items that we just kind of have to like cut or
Mhm.
just because, like you said, schedule timeline got out of whack. Decision making wasn't clear and specific, and now we're here and we just have to make a decision. And it usually isn't the best experience for the contractor or the user at the end of the
No.
day, is because that's not the original plan. That's not what we were excited about.
No.
So speaking of the Excel and just overall the procurement process, in the procurement world is often pushing the latest specialized softwares but a lot of people, a lot of cost consultants still heavily rely on Excel spreadsheets. And why is that? Like, why does an Excel
Um,
spreadsheet hold its ground in complex estimating when there are more, simplified softwares and systems?
so I love this question so much, and I am actually speaking on this question at the National Summit for American Society of Professional Estimators here in Orlando, Florida. It's in the third week of September. Come on down, y'all, and we can talk about this for a whole hour. Um, here's how I'm going to put this. Now, we've already talked a lot about food, so it's going to be another food. It's going to be another food analogy. Why does the grocery store keep selling us flour when we have perfectly good box mix?
Mm.
That's the answer to that question is the same answer to the question you just asked me. Excel offers flexibility, just like a bag of flour. Box mix makes it foolproof, just like these specialized systems. So the user of either the brownie maker or the construction cost estimator um, need to decide their workflow, decide how much flexibility that they need, how much customization they need, also with the cost. It's always going to be cheaper to do it with the raw ingredients than it is to use these specialized softwares.
Yes.
However, sometimes that cost makes sense for people to spend on these specialized softwares, because then you can use, or the operators of those cost estimating softwares can be a less experienced individual, because
Mm,
it's like bumpers at the bowling alley. There's the task, you're not going to get off kilter or anything, because Excel can go crazy wrong. We've all put an extra zero or messed up a formula before and had, whoa, that number's not right at all.
mm,
But Excel's very inexpensive. Spreadsheets are very with a Gmail address, you can have Google Sheets and run up millions of dollars of cost estimates if you need to, for free, basically. And then some of these estimating softwares, it's thousands of dollars. But if
mm.
you're rinse, wash, repeat, very easy estimating, hey, that makes sense. So it just depends on what the individual needs. Also, I would say, to your point, your question is about why do cost consultants in particular use Excel. We have to deliver our product to any old person that's a client. And every single one of our clients, for sure, is going to be able to open that Excel file. Now, me
Mm.
personally, if I'm paying for numbers from somebody and they give me a PDF, I'm going to be mad. Like, I don't want that. I want
Right.
something that I can twiddle around with and play with. I don't want a PDF, put it in an Excel file,
Yeah.
which is reasonable. If I'm getting numbers, I want to be able to massage it the way that I want to massage it, maybe run different scenarios if I want, out of my own curiosity, send it to somebody else, see what they think. And Excel can do that for our clients. If I send them a PDF that's a printout from a software,
Mhm.
they're kind of locked into those numbers, or now they got to copy and paste it in there and rebuild the formulas. And I mean, maybe they don't want all that flexibility, but that's certainly
Yeah.
been my experience with my clients. They really enjoy getting Excel.
Well, because there's flexibility in it, and it's the lack of friction, and I agree. I think software, lately I have been, kind of thumbing around the idea of how there are all these new software solutions and things like that that are basically the same thing as the box of flour or the bag of flour. It is just a convenience fee that you're investing. So it's a
Hmm.
convenience fee of putting the guardrails and the boundaries and things like that, because you might not be mastered at the formulaic systems of cost estimating. And so
Hmm.
let's just make sure that this is foolproof. Let's make sure that you can stay within the confines of this. But the downside, and this is just in general for software as a business owner, I've bought a lot of software and I've gone through a lot of software. The downside of software is that when it gets to you, it's basically the package and you got to use it exactly how they had designed it. And so if you're working on a complex project, it's kind of like you're working within the confines of that software. And I love that you're speaking about spreadsheets, because I love data. I mean, data is the most powerful thing any business owner, any entrepreneur, anybody could ever need in their life, because it gives them the flexibility to massage and go through different scenarios of what the outcome would be if they do X or Y.
Hmm.
So really, really powerful. So this is a great conversation. I feel like we could talk about this for a long time, but like I just want to know, how can people reach out to you if they're interested, and what specifically, where how can they connect with you?
So to connect with me, I do have an email. I'm sorry, I do have a website. You can Google me and I come right up. Also LinkedIn, Lillie Maximo, or just Google Lillie Maximo Construction. You'll find me. Maximo Construction. There's my email, Lillie, Lillie at maxconfl.com.
Amazing, awesome. Is there anything else that you want to share with the audience, just as
No,
a
just thank you so much for your time, Melinda. This has been such a joy to have a conversation with you. I love our time and our conversations together. You are just such a blessing on this earth, and I appreciate you.
Oh, I appreciate you too, Lily. Guys, like don't take this for granted. I know that you're thinking, okay, I definitely need to reach out to her. Reach out to her now because her calendar does get booked, and when it gets booked, it gets busy. And so you want to definitely have her eyes on it because she's worked on projects of all sizes, and her specialty and her expertise is for sure something that you need in your organization. Thank you so much for being here, Lily. I
Thank
appreciate
you,
you.
Melinda. I appreciate you.
All right. Bye.